rack over here.
Okay.
What are we looking at over here?
Well, unfortunately at this point it's mostly an empty rack because we're just starting out with this, but our little side project that we're delving into are Western Hognose, and I've just started collecting these this year. In Illinois, they're actually an endangered species, so you're not allowed to have them without a permit. So I do have a permit. I could show you that later, so I'm not breaking any laws here. It's real easy to get. There's no cost involved with just going through the proper channels to get it. So we got our permit, and we're just starting to collect these Hognose, and this is a separate project that I want to do in the future, like a sister project to the ball pythons. We'll have their own website and everything, but we're just accumulating these guys, and there's a long way to go, but I could show you some of the different morphs and stuff.
That would be awesome.
Here's a regular Western. These are my high-tech high boxes here. So this is just a normal one. He's a little feisty. It's kind of flaring up its neck a little bit like a cobra, and that little kind of crazy tongue action there. It looks normal, but this is just a normal phase, you know, Western Hognose. This is almost a 1-year-old female.
Beautiful.
See that funky stuff she does with her tongue there?
Yeah.
Just really reminds you of like a rattlesnake, how she does that.
Now you mentioned something about a funny feature with these snakes if they're
if they're
really frightened.
They're real threatened. One of their defense mechanisms is they kind of like a snake version of playing possum. They'll lay on their back on a circle, pretend like they're dead. They open their mouth and they hang their tongue out the side. So if someone comes up and sees them, they'll think like, God, this is like dead, maybe decaying. Not going to taste good. Don't want to eat it. So I don't know.
That's cool.
That's kind of a neat little quirky thing that made me like them.
That is.
So that's a regular one, and then you know, here this is an albino version. Just like the ball python, same snake, different paint jobs.
Awesome.
But they got the the red eyes, typical albino, and there's different kinds of albinos. This is obviously an orange phase. There's some that are more red, and there's other ones that are actually more of a yellow. So that's our little one of our albinos. We got a couple of these guys, and this is an axanthic, lacking the yellow pigmentation. Just like they have in the ball pythons. It's kind of like a silvery gray. These guys tend to maintain their silver gray pattern a little bit more than axanthic ball pythons do. And if you're mixing these axanthics and the albinos together, that's what the ingredients you need to make a snow, which is a white hognose.
They're just a very neat snake.
Yeah, they're quirky, and there's with the little snoot nose, and they're chubby and they don't get too big, and they got the kind of like the rough scales, totally different than the ball pythons.
Oh yeah.
So they're really, really unique. Not going to confuse a hognose with anything else.
No. And I was just looking at that. How big do they get as far as full-grown adult?
Males, 16, 18, 20 inches. A male could be like around this big, full-grown, and females, 2.5 feet full-grown. So nothing that's ever going to get too large. And you keep a lot of them in a small space, and they're kind of cool because there's tons of different morphs that I obviously don't have yet because I'm just starting, but there's a lot of things you could do with them. Let me show you a couple. These are probably my favorites. These are called an anaconda hognose. It's named after like the green anaconda that has the reduced pattern with the spots on the dorsally. So you can see like the spots on this versus that, where it just got the smaller reduced amount of aberrant spots. The other thing unique to the anaconda phase is they have like this kind of solid uniform black belly as opposed to the regular ones that are somewhat checkered. The other thing too in terms of genetics, the anacondas are actually a codominant form, where there's a superconda form which you get when you breed two of these anacondas together. And then you can also breed the anacondas into the albinos and the axanthics and hypos and puffy bellies and all the other things. We're taking this pattern morph with that color morph and making designer hognose, which other people have already done. I just don't have them yet, but they're really, really
So next year we could be expecting next year?
Hopefully, yeah. These guys can breed as early as 18 months, so hopefully we'll get some of these females up to size, throw them into hibernation this upcoming winter, and then spring, summer of 2012, hopefully have a few baby hognose to offer people along with all the ball pythons.
Awesome. Well, Mark, I want to thank you so much for bringing us into your world and showing us a little bit of the behind the scenes of what happens as far as keeping and breeding ball pythons.
Yeah, come back later in the summer. We got all kinds of eggs hatching and be a little bit more new stuff to show you too.
Trust me, we're already making that plan.
Cool, nice.
We'd love to come and see what happens during that time. Hopefully get some that are coming out as well as the ones that are already hatched. But Mark, thank you so much.
No problem.
Pleasure being here. And everybody, Mark Petros at Ball Python 777. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Ballpython777.com. He's also one of ours, WCR. Find him on Facebook. And I'm Gallo for WCR Spotlight. Peace.